Well, hi everyone. What are we doing today? We're taking our acrylic underpainting and we're going to go ahead and put oil on top. We could have just left it as an acrylic painting. We could go over it again and make it a more detailed acrylic painting instead of just the stage it's at right now, which is just a very basic sketch. But I want to develop it into an oil painting. And so I am about to do that. And I will do that by looking a little bit at my sketch I did of the beach last week, but mostly I will be looking at a photograph. Yes, a photograph. I am familiar with the subject now. I've sketched it while I was out there live. I've completed the sketch when I came home. I've looked at tons of photos. I know what I'm looking at. And that to me is the reason for a sketch, to familiarize yourself with the subject. Other than that, it doesn't help me a whole bunch when I paint the next painting. For that, I kind of need to look at my photos. Everybody's different. That's me. So anyway, I'll show you those two paintings in just a second. Remember this as our little sketch we did last week as the sun was going down. Just a quickie of the sun behind some darkened clouds and the water with the waves breaking and just a little bit of sand up front. So here we are now. This is our quick, I would say at this point, sketch, my underpainting with acrylic. I think I'm going to move these dunes up just a little higher right here. But that's my acrylic underpainting, and we're going to go ahead and put some oil on top today. And I will also be using a photograph so that I can get a little bit more detail in here. You don't have to do that. People can paint straight from their sketches because the point is to simplify and not actually make things too detailed. But in my opinion, this is a little too simplified for a detailed painting. So that's what I'm shooting for. Sometimes I'm looking for a plein air look, and this would be great, but I'm looking today for something a little more detailed. Can't really pigeonhole me because my style varies back and forth to what I feel like doing that day, and I don't analyze it. It's just what it is. Okay, so we're going to get started on this in just a second. Okay, today I'm using brushes that will be mostly small. You have a little stiff bristle here, which is a silver brush synthetic that is very, very tiny. It looks big, but it's not. I'll show you with my fingertip. It's a small brush. Over here is a very soft Escada brush, which I love. Another very soft brush here. It's almost roundish on the tip. Again, a very nice brush here that comes to a nice chisel, a square brush. Oh, that one is wet that I was just working with. Another little square brush, but they're all small. I won't call them square, they're flats. A pointy brush if I need one. And then this little angled brush here. It's a rosemary. So I think it comes from the Tischler collection. So they're all small, and they're going right here where I can get to them easily in my little tray right beside my paints. So I'm going to decide first of all if I want this to come up a little higher, and I could bring it up just a little bit more. So I think that is decided, but I'm not going to work on it just yet. I think the first thing I'm going to do is start working on the clouds, and I'll be using this little soft filbert brush. Moisten it a little because this is water mixable paints. Come in and get a little bit of my blue, and this is primary blue that I'm using. You probably can't see these paints here, but What I have today is yellow ochre, primary yellow, a little bit of my Gamsol gel. Over here is titanium white. This is dioxazine purple, this is lavender, this is primary blue. Over here is our regular blue that we always use, ultramarine blue. Here is a yellow green, here is a green yellow. I don't usually use greens, but today I'm going to put some greens in here. Primary green and a phthalo green yellow. I can't remember what you are. Oh, this is a very dark green called olive green. Over here is burnt sienna and a little cambium orange. This is cambium yellow light. This is just our regular yellow ochre. So I have a couple of brands here. Like one of them is Artesian, which is the Winsor Newton water mixable paint. Most of the others are from my Cobra water mixable series. So I want this blue up here. Along with that blue, I will need a little bit of, I'm looking for a nice knife to use so I don't make too much mess. I need white with that. And then I need to dull it down a little. If I use yellow, it will turn green. So what am I going to use instead? Orange. And we'll see how that does. Because orange has red in it, but I don't want it to look like cambium red light or cambium red. I just want a dull blue. So I'm going to put a little more orange in there. And now I'm going to add a little more blue. So you just keep playing. And I don't usually show you this part because it can be quite boring. So what do I think about that color? Well, it's a little too light. It's a little too blue-green. I'm going to add the tiniest little bit of burnt sienna to that. Burnt sienna because it has red in it, but it also has the neutral colors that I need in it, the orange. Okay, more white. And so you just keep playing until you get the color you're looking for. And you could mix all your colors up this way if you want to. Get enough of them so you don't have to keep going back and forth, or you can put a little purple in there. Getting closer. Just keep playing until you understand what each color is doing for you. You might think, oh no, I can't mix colors. But if you play with colors, you'll be able to mix colors. That's all you have to do, play with them. So I'd like to get a little bit of that going to where I don't have to keep going back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to take a little bit of my other blue, my ultramarine blue. Yes, I think I finally hit the color I'm looking for. Okay, so make a little pile of that, and I'll put that right here. Okay, next, I want to make some sand color. So again, I'm going to go to some lavender here, some orange, mix those two together. Sounds crazy. Makes a very strange color. I'm going to mix some white in there. That is like a beautiful color, but not exactly what I'm looking for. So what I need is a little tiny bit of blue in there to tone it down. Close. A little more white. Okay. Put that to the side. Next, I'm not going to mix those greens. I'm going to do that right on the palette. The color of this water here, I would like to mix blue and white together. That's very, very bright. Too bright. The primary blue has a lot of pigment in it, apparently. It's not, it looks a lot like cerulean blue, but believe me, it's not. It's not cerulean blue. So I need a little bit of the lavender to tone the blue down. Bring a little bit of that warmth from the sky in there. I'm going to take a tiny bit of orange because this entire picture has that warm tone in it. Now more white. Good. Put that here. Any one of these can then be adjusted however I need them to be. I need this color right here, which is a very light color. We'll start out with yellow ochre, and of course white. Yellow ochre already has some white in it, but even though it does, it's still really bright. I'm only going to take a piece of this, it's too much, and mix it with the white. I'll use that other darker stuff for another spot. Okay, what do I think of that? In some spots that will work out for me, so I will save that, okay? In some spots this darker one will work out, so I will save that. Now I'm going to take all the rest of this and mix it with some of this blue and green that I have here and make that color. Because there's a few spots that I could use that color. A lot of my mixing takes place right on the palette, right on the canvas, but if you can get some things prepared ahead of time, it's very helpful. One of the things I want to do here, I want to take all these colors, mix them together and make my dark color of my water back there. So it's kind of a greenish blue. I'm using my, no, I don't need that much. There we go. That is perfect. And if I need to darken it or lighten it, I can, but I have my base now. And I'll put that here. Okay, now I think I'm going to take a little bit of this green over here, the yellow green, mix it with some of this lighter stuff. And make myself a little bit of that. Put it right beside it, right here. Okay. And take all the rest of this, clean it up just a little bit so I have some room to work. And when it all gets mixed together, it will probably be a useful color that I can use for something somewhere. And I'll just stick it right there. Okay, so we have some basic colors mixed up. That's helpful. That will help me to be able to work without stopping quite as often. Okay, rinse this blue out of my brush as much as I can. And now I'm going to go and start with the clouds. Let's see. Let me start with this little spot right here and see what I think. Okay, as it dissipates into this light, this is good. It's also good for down here. Up on the top, I would say, like right there. It's good for over here. See how much darker it looks over here? It's the same color. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of this color and put it here. Use a little of my gel to make it flow. Don't want to scumble as much as I did before. Use a little bit of that color down here. And then come into this darker. Wow, look how dark it is. Too dark, right? Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? No, it's not too dark. I'm going to now take a little of the lighter color, mix it in with the darker color, because I want something right in between the two. Good. I want it noticeable, and then I want to go a little lighter right up on top and blend that in. Okay. Wipe. Over here, this has a blue to it, but it also has this gold. And it's very hard to get the gold undertone and the blue. Gel, some of the gold tone. It's going to blend in with that blue in a minute, I promise you, whether you want it to or not. I'll stop talking so you can just watch, and I can just think. Don't overdo that. Or it looks really kitschy, like a postcard or something. But there is a beautiful shining going on there. Okay, this is a tricky spot. You will never feel like you have this bright enough. There are times if you go into the tiniest little bit of blue, really clean your brush as good as you can, because we don't want this green, okay? Clean your brush, clean your brush, clean your brush. Go into the tiniest little bit of blue. So it's just a stain on your brush. Then grab white. And let's see what happens when we turn this into a blue white. You can hardly see the blue in here now, but it's in here. And see if we can do it. Let's see. I need this to be fairly chunky. We need to put down some paint. Okay, this is going to be the thickest paint on the whole painting. Okay, let's leave that alone. And we'll go back into our yellow. Beautiful yellow white. And hit it here, 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 here. Okay. And then a little bit of this in here in a sort of a scumble. A little here. Taking my big fluffy brush, and I'm just wiping across here. I've got both the horizon and the water, and I'm going over both of them at the same time. Here on this water, I don't want to actually put it in yet, but just to show you right here. Back to the water. Not putting it in perfectly smoothly. Why? Because I will have to just spend all this time simulating choppy water back here. What's the point? Okay, more blue, more orange, more white. If you get it too dark and you know there's way too much of it, just take a little piece of it. Then you can mix back into it until you get as much as you need. I'm going to do a medium color here. You see the color starts to change a little. Now I have to remember that the water ends like right about, I'm just going to put this in here. To remind myself that the water is going to end like there. I'm going to push this back a little bit. I think it's too close to the water. But in the meantime, I did that because I want to then lighten this up to this beautiful color that I mixed here. Which goes pretty much to there. As I come forward, I'm dragging it through lighter and lighter paint, which makes it possible for me to do that, otherwise it would be too dark. Then I'll go back with some of that light paint that I just scooped up and put that in different spots. Now I'm going to go into some of that gold. Lay a little bit of that down. Okay, we have a lot more to do there, but it doesn't really matter that much. At this point, I've got that perfect. And I'll probably not show you all the little tiny details. I'm just trying to show you the basics. Now, something I need to work out here. I think this is up too far up. I want to bring it down a little. So let's just go over the sand. This is going to be a very light spot right here, but let's go ahead and fill this sand in first. It's kind of a greenish. I think I want to bring these up a little as well. So I'm not going to work too hard on this spot because I'm going to be filling that in a little bit more. At least I think so. I'll have to decide at the last minute as usual. Just like I bring my little ends into the light, I bring my light into my dark. Yeah, I'm all over the place. You're right if you're thinking that. I kind of paint that way. Bring a little bit of this dark up here so that I can raise this up a tiny little bit. Same thing here. know. Okay guys, there's my finished painting. I have the light off in here because the colors never really come true with the light on. It's not really quite right this way either. It's so much prettier in person. It's got a lot more golden glow to it. But anyway, there it is, up close. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know the video was long, but it was fun. So I hope you'll come and join me again soon.